And you cannot get CarPlay at all, Android Auto at all, in either of the options from GM in the Blazer or the LYRIQ. You just have to do without, but in the Honda and the Acura, you do get CarPlay. So that is a very nice addition that the General Motors vehicles do not get. Hey gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey, and this is a 2025 Acura ZDX Type S, the first of many all-electric Acura products that the brand is promising, and the most powerful version of this platform that is shared with GM, at least when it went on sale in 2024. Yes, this does share the bones with the Honda Prologue we've already tested, the Chevy Blazer EV, which does have an SS version coming that should outpower this, and the Cadillac LYRIQ. Is this the best of all of them? What makes it unique? Stay tuned to find out. Before we get too far into this one, I do want to thank Acura for bringing me this vehicle to live with and to test for you for a full week here on the channel. Full disclosure, this is a 2024 model, though nothing has really changed for 2025. And yes, you heard me right on the intro of this. This is actually on a shared platform with a Chevy Blazer EV and a Cadillac LYRIQ and the Honda Pilot. That's right, this is on GM's Ultium platform, though this has got the biggest battery underneath at 102 kilowatt hours. It's got a dual motor all-wheel drive, being the Performance Type S variant. It does offer a base model with rear-wheel drive only. The power output on our particular model is 499 horsepower, 544 pound-feet of torque. That is more than the Honda Prologue we tested that had to make do with 288 horsepower and 333 pound-feet of torque. I did say this was the most powerful vehicle on this platform you could get between the Cadillac and Chevy and Honda versions when it went on sale in 2024. The Blazer EV SS that is set to debut this year makes 595 horsepower and 645 pound-feet of torque. The Cadillac LYRIQ 424 made 500 horsepower, 450 pound-feet of torque, but got a boost of 15 horsepower for 2025. Cadillac has teased, but not given us full details yet on the 2026 V variant of their LYRIQ, but more on that to come very soon, I sure do hope. But yes, this does have dual motors, all-wheel drive, and sadly no frunk to speak of underneath the hood here, and you just get this nice Acura panel, but no additional storage. So yes, sadly we don't get any under hood storage or front trunk or frunk storage in this one, but I mean, Acura, right? And we do get a hydraulic strut holding this open. This is a double latch hood though. You, as the end consumer, if you're ever gonna have to actually open this for anything, sure, you can replace some fluids or top off some fluids underneath here. But generally speaking, this thing needn't open for you. And when it's closed, my goodness, we've got some sharp creases here. This is the most angular of the vehicles riding on this platform, even as sharp and angular as the art and science design is on that Cadillac LYRIQ. This thing really does look like it could cut you from many different angles. The future design concept study from Acura is even sharper and more angular than this, so it's very exciting to see what the future holds for electric Acura products. But moving down, we do have full LED turn signals, running lights, headlights, LED, all the things up here. We even get an LED surround around the grille. So you get a very nice, very cleaned up, very modern and futuristic look to the front of this ZDX. As we pull out from the front of it and check out the profile, you can see there are some interesting design choices made by the Acura designers and engineers here on our particular model. First of all, it's painted in this glorious blue. I will put the exact name of it on the screen. Very interesting that this being the Type S, we get that silver painted lower section that does start up on the grille up front, or the fascia up front, the lower grills for air pass through. Yes, you can see these are open and do allow air around the front of the vehicle, but they are accented by that silver paint that continues down the lower rockers, down the side of the vehicle. We also have a black painted roof. So we do have 3 different paint colors along the side. I don't know, is that too busy? Is it too much for you? Sound off down in the comments below. And speaking of colors, we have these yellow painted brake calipers, these Acura and Brembo co-branded brake calipers behind these 22-inch wheels. Very clean look. We have these Michelin Primacy all-season tires on our particular model, though you can get some summer-only tires that are more performance rated. I really like the aerodynamic yet edgy design of these wheels, and they give a clean look to the overall profile of the ZDX. I will say, anecdotally, we were pulled over in traffic and told to roll our windows down by passersby needing to know exactly what this was. You don't see a lot of Acuras on the road, period, here in East Texas, because our nearest dealership is a 2-hour drive away, but you especially don't see any electric Acuras on the road as of yet here in East Texas. This thing really does stand out, even with those 3 different paint colors down the side. I do like that chrome strip dividing the black roof from the window line going down the side. And of course, yes, we get yellow painted brake calipers here in the rear, but one other design element I really want to call out is the haunches on the back of the ZDX. You can see here just how wide the over fender, I guess, is around the back corner of the vehicle. It really stands out and gives a unique overall design to the side profile, and especially the back. It really gives the back of the ZDX some impressive hips. It does also give it a little bit of a shelf back behind the rear window, but yes, it definitely has presence on the road. We get that same Acura checkmark LED lighting on our running lights back here, but we get full LED lights in the back with our backup lights, our turn signals, and our brake lights all incorporated there in those units. And then we get that Acura badge here in the middle. The hatch is power operated with a button right there under the Acura logo. And then you can see we get good amounts of cargo space back in the back. So you can see there is plenty of room as it is right now for my backpack, some of my recording gear. This right here is actually the charge cable that came with the vehicle. We've got a little storage off to the side here. But if you lift up on this, there is a little bit of additional storage underneath. It is not too deep and doesn't exactly make up for the fact that there is no front trunk on this, but does give us a little bit more storage space hidden underneath the floor, so you don't have to worry about prying eyes seeing that, even if you don't have the optional retractable rear cargo shade. If you need more storage space back here than this, you do have these 2 buttons right here that does allow the seat to fold forward on its own. Unfortunately, I can't do that for Tucker's side over here because he does have his car seat in place. You can fold those down, but yeah, you cannot fold them back up from back here. We do get a little additional power back here, though you're not going to be doing a lot of crazy tailgating in the back of this one because there's no household plug or any way to really power a big unit back here, whether it be TVs or anything like that. That draws a lot of power. Interesting that we don't have a household style plug back here, which is becoming more and more common. Coming to me at the back of the ZDX, I'm 5'10". You can see I've got plenty of headspace underneath it. This does have an adjustable height suspension, and it is not in its highest, so in theory I could get more space underneath the hatch, but I think this is just plenty, especially for something in this mid-size crossover type space. You can see the button to close it is right there, and it goes down rather quickly as well. Before we climb in this one, I do want to show you the key. It is a typical General Motors key because, again, this is on a shared GM platform. Flop it over here, you get lock, unlock, remote start, hatch release, panic button, and you can deploy a physical key. It is a proximity key that can be kept in your pocket, your purse, on your person, doesn't matter. And then we get the not passive, but active entry where you can lock and unlock with the push of this button, not by touching on the back of the door handle. So you can lock or unlock the vehicle just by pushing that little chrome button. And that is actually on all 4 doors, which I really like. Also, before we climb in, let's talk about charging this one. Because yes, we do have a CCS J1772 combination here. This will be converting over to the NACS North America Charging Standard plug very soon. But for the time being, yes, you do get the old plug, but you will be getting an adapter. You can plug this up to the Tesla network. And we'll talk more about charging when we get inside. I do want to say a huge thank you to Lectron EV Chargers for supplying us with all of our charging equipment here at Garage Talk for EVs. Not only did they supply us with our home fast charger that is installed in our garage, but now we have adapters for vehicles like this ZDX with a J1772 or CCS plug to use the Tesla charging network. So you can actually get one of these for your vehicle yourself and expand just how many EV charging stations are available to you. Take advantage of that massive and vast Tesla supercharger network. All the links and details are down below. Huge thanks to Lectron. Let's go ahead and get inside. It is rather chilly out here and my hands do not like the cold weather. When you open the doors, we get this nice cream leather interior on this one that very much reminds me of the last Integra Type S that we had. It is very nice and luxurious. We get different colors and touches and materials here. We get some ambient lighting on the doors, 2-person memory seats. We get auto up and down on all 4 windows. We get power fold mirrors. All our controls here, nary a stitch of gloss black plastic, which I love. You can see your hatch button is right there. You can program how wide it opens on the touchscreen inside, and then a little bit of storage in a couple different places. Multi-way adjustable seats, very configurable. 4-way lumbar, you have adjustable thigh support, you have adjustable bolsters, all done through this control, these controls, and the screen. And then your typical forward and back controls. Before I climb in, I do want to show you this additional storage underneath the center console, which I really like. I like these metal trimmed pedals with rubber grippers. I really like the overall design of this one. While we're talking about charging and such, you can see we are at 100% charge right now, 278 miles of range because, well, this one is performance oriented. We'll get in, close the door, and not a whole lot happens, but I will put my foot on the brake, push the power button, and still not a lot happens because it's an EV. Nothing needs to start other than the electronics in the vehicle letting me know, hey, this thing is getting ready to go. We've got a nice digital screen here, nice digital screen here with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Even though, yes, I am plugged in via USB-C, I've been liking that a little bit better for filming purposes, but the wireless does work very well in this. And you cannot get CarPlay at all, Android Auto at all, in either of the options from GM in the Blazer or the LYRIQ. You just have to do without, but in the Honda and the Acura, you do get CarPlay. So that is a very nice addition that the General Motors vehicles do not get. In addition to this screen here, I do have a very large head-up display here in front of me. I also have a screen here in my rear view camera mirror, though it is a little glary as the sun is setting. You can see I've got a decent view out of the back, but I really do like the use of technology here in this one. And then all my controls for my glass roof, which we'll talk about here in just a moment. I do like the touchscreen. It is very quick and responsive, though you do a lot of stuff here in the screen. We'll go ahead and hit these settings buttons, and you can see all the different things you can control. Your lights, park assist, your head-up display, your dome lights, your power window lockouts, your camera, child safety locks. You can go even further, doors and windows, your actual headlights right in here. And then going back, your universal remote controls for garage doors and things like that, HomeLink type stuff. Getting out of there, we do have a few more shortcuts up here. Notifications, a quick access for your light controls right there, and then your one pedal driving. You can see it's set to normal, off, or normal. Those are your two options there. So all of that is in there. We get Honda, Acura designed logos here, but generally speaking, yes, this is a GM unit. We can go into vehicle status here. We'll learn a little bit about the vehicle, including our trip. You can see we've driven it a little bit. We're getting decent returns on our economy, but nothing too spectacular. Other things can be found in here, but generally speaking, like I said, yes, it is a GM unit with an Acura skin over it. We'll go ahead and move now over my left knee here. Electronic parking brake, your drive mode button, auto hold in traffic, lane centering, your adjustable height suspension button here, which we have a few different levels. We have increased, normal, lowered, and entry exit. So we're going to put it to normal for right now. And then our drive modes. Unfortunately, right here, not only do I need to look past where I'm actually pushing the button, but all the way over here to this screen to see my different drive modes. So you can see we have sport, individual, normal, and snow. Snow would have come in handy if I actually drove this when it was sort of kind of snowing here in East Texas over our week with it. You can see down here we have dual zone front climate controls, and you'll see why I make that distinction here in just a moment. We have heated and ventilated front seats, which I like. Very simple controls. This was ripped straight out of, you name it, General Motors product, whether it be the Chevy Colorado or many other vehicles with this exact same button setup. It is the only gloss black that really is in this vehicle at all. Moving down, we have two USB-C ports that do interface with the screen up above. We do have some additional power right here. Get a nice flat shelf here that is rubber lined for setting anything. Again, I did mention I really like using the USB-C. It's just a little more reliable. It charges my phone, and I typically lay my phone right here, so everything is nice and tidy, though I don't have to because we have a Qi wireless charger right here that does a fairly good job of keeping my phone charged without overheating it too much. We have some cup holders here with grippers. I already mentioned the storage down here. We get pretty good storage in here, though we're missing the removable little trays that can go in here. More storage in the doors over here, as I showed you when we got in. Then we have a damped but not felt-lined glove box here. The overall dash design is nice. It is leather covered. It is generally a premium design, and you can see we've got some ambient lighting that goes around, though it's still a little too bright out to truly take advantage of it. Coming to me, I did mention panoramic glass roof. Plenty of headroom for me at 5'10". I'm fairly comfortable in here. Let's check out what it's like sitting behind myself at 5'10". So yes, I did mention these buttons here, allowing me to get in and out of the back seat first if I want to, which works very well as a family vehicle, even as a luxury vehicle. I really like that. Some amenities back here that I also like that you don't typically see in vehicles. Rear peasant blockers, so I like that a lot. You can see we get a repeat of all the materials, express up-down mirror or window controls back here. A little bit of storage here, though none of this is rubberized. A little bit of storage down there. Same seat design, seat colors, textures, and such here in the back. Wide enough for 3 across. And we're going to go ahead and climb in behind myself at 5'10". It is stadium style seating, so I am sitting a little higher than I was up front, but plenty of legroom back here. We do have this hard cover for the map pockets on both front seats, but tri-zone climate controls. So I said dual zone in the front, tri-zone total. I can have my own temperature controls back here. I do also have heated outboard seats, which I really like. 2 USB-C power ports down here, and a household style power outlet. Very flat load floor all the way across because, well, we are in an EV, so no need for a transmission tunnel. Very nice load floor all the way across. And the center seat, you can see, is recessed just a little bit. So this is me sitting in the outboard seat. Headroom is a little compromised. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But sitting here in the middle, I sit a little lower, a little more upright. It's a little bit different, but scooting back over, if we don't have someone sitting here, we have an armrest that stays in a nice, comfortable position. And then reaching over my left shoulder, we do get a little bit of a recline, which is where I was to begin with. So this is the most upright seating position. And yes, now my hat really is touching the ceiling. So you are going to want to have the reclined seat back here in the back, but generally a very comfortable back seat. Now though, you're probably wondering how this Type S performs, especially being one of the first EVs from the Acura brand. So I promised you some charging numbers, and I've got a lot of details on this vehicle down below the description. But yes, this does have a 102 kilowatt hour battery underneath me, which keeps the weight down low, which you kind of want in a performance vehicle. But the EPA rates this at 2.3 miles per kilowatt hour, which is lower than the Honda Prologue version with its 2.7. As you might have noticed earlier when I was digging through the screens here, we're getting 2.1, mostly because it's been really cold here, like freezing, snow, ice, and the like. And yes, we've also been turning the heater on with the remote start to get this warmed up before we got out and got going. And you know, outside of actually driving an EV, the HVAC system is what draws the most power. So we've got that to contend with. They also say that this can charge up to 278 total miles at 100%. You did see that when we started. I've driven it a little now. We're down to 269 in its total mileage. They also estimate that on a 240 watt DC fast charger, you can go to 80% from 20% charge in 42 minutes. So living with this should be a relatively easy experience, especially if you get that NACS adapter to expand your overall charging capability. Also, before we set off in this one, being the all-wheel drive model, it does have a perfect 50-50 weight distribution and perfect traction. Though I did mention we are riding on all-season tires, you can get summer-only tires for, in theory, better performance. But current conditions here, 52 degrees, the sun is going down. It's gotten a little bit warmer than that today, but yeah, that is our current situation when it comes to our acceleration. We are in sport mode right now, and we're going to see what this is like 0 to 60 in real world conditions. I am going to brake torque it a little bit, so come to a complete stop, firm on the brake, firm on the accelerator, drop the brake, and we are off. My goodness, it does pull. It's not such a dramatic right off the bat acceleration, but that did give us 4.78 seconds 0 to 60 on relatively level ground, and that was in sport mode. So just put that on your idea of what this thing is capable of. We will do a couple more runs at the end of this test to see if we can't best that 4.78 through a couple different methods. And yes, unfortunately, nowhere do I have level pavement to fully test this. With 50-50 weight distribution, all-season tires, the weight down low underneath me, and that air ride suspension, you would imagine that this is a very nice vehicle to live with, and you would be right. I have long held that EVs make great luxury vehicles. Acura makes great luxury vehicles. You put it all together, this is a great luxury vehicle. The air ride suspension is so good in this that you just kind of float over everything. The last air ride vehicle we had was a body-on-frame SUV that was rather large, and that suspension feels infinitely more stiff than the suspension here in this one. This really does kind of float over everything without being floaty, if that makes any sense. Again, I am in sport mode, so we are a little more taut. I have been in weird driving situations, going over bumps and weird transitions into and out of parking lots, and this thing hasn't wiggled me to death, and it also hasn't been so firm that I feel like I'm on a skateboard. The suspension really is set up very nicely in this, and depending on what drive mode you're in is how firm or soft it is. But yeah, really good suspension in this. The individual drive mode does allow you to customize a lot of different functions and features of this car, including the suspension, throttle response, and the like. The ride on it very good. That is in part due to that fantastic suspension, but the fact that this is an EV means we have that heavy battery down low with a low center of gravity, and the wheels are stretched out to the corners. All of those things put together translate into a nice, steady, solid ride that makes this thing fun to pilot. All-wheel drive power, extra power over all the other variants of this, at least as of this recording, actually makes for a very fun point, squirt, and shoot kind of situation when it comes to going anywhere in this. It is actually fairly quick, and I suppose we're going to get better 0 to 60 numbers than that 478 from my race box, but we'll just have to wait and see. As we are riding on 22-inch wheels and tires, you would imagine that the ride would be a little harsh and that I would be getting a lot of road noise. I am getting some road noise because I'm on highly textured pavement, and it is not being drowned out by all the explosions from an internal combustion engine under the hood. But I would say it's very nice and quiet and calm in here. This vehicle is put together very nicely. The only noise I am getting outside of the tire noise is Tucker's car seat back here, which, if you want to see me install, hit the subscribe button down below and ring the bell so you are notified when that video drops. Holly will be behind the wheel and will give you her thoughts and impressions. Now, as we start to get to the twisty bit, I can really see the Type S side of this vehicle rearing its beautiful head out from underneath all of the General Motors engineering of this. This really is a fun vehicle to pilot. That instantaneous torque, because it is an electric vehicle, means I really can just go when I want to, just jab my right foot down. And that is something you kind of have to be leery of because this can get a little squirrely under hard acceleration, as most EVs do. You get all the weight transfer and things like that. And the fact that this truly is a very quick Acura means it may be a little faster than you are used to. So just be careful when piloting it around. But I will say this is very fun around the twisties as it is doing 0 to 60 runs. Is it the best handling Acura? Well, that's hard to say because it's been a while since I've been in the Integra, and that really is the only other performance Acura I've been in. Yes, I've been in an MDX Type S, but for its handling prowess, I would choose this over an MDX Type S any day of the week. This thing really is fun to point around and go. This being a GM product at its core, it does have a nice thick rim steering wheel that feels very sporty in my hands and gives me something good and firm to grasp hold of as I pilot this around twisty corners and such. You may have noticed the lights and such up here. This does actually have Super Cruise, though that is not what Acura calls it here in this one, but hands-free cruise control with automatic lane change and all the goodies that we have known and expect from GM products with their most advanced autonomous driver assistance tech. I really like it. It works very well in all the vehicles I've tested it in, including this one, though we're really not going to do any of that here in this particular video. I've kind of run Super Cruise into the ground. You can absolutely check one of my other videos for that. All right, so we are now at the end of the twisty bit, back to testing 0 to 60 acceleration. So that time I brake torqued it where I was full on the accelerator and firm on the brake. I dropped the brake. This time I'm just going to move from brake to accelerator from a full stop and see what that does. Again, we are in sport mode. Ready, set, go. My goodness, this really does throw you back. That was a quicker 0 to 30, and 0 to 60 it was 466. Now, I do have a good friend in Sophie and Bay from Redline Reviews that got lower than that. So my competitive side is wanting to best his number just a bit. I know our conditions are a little bit different. He may have also had the summer tires and better conditions, but one last go of it. We're going to do the exact same thing. Full on the brake and move over to the accelerator. Ready, set, go. Oh my goodness. This thing pulls hard and strong and just keeps going. 4.5 flat. Now, I will say that was going downhill slightly, but you get the general principle. Under 5 seconds, 0 to 60, infinitely repeatable because it is all-wheel drive, because it is an EV, and because, well, that's just what EVs do. It can adjust to loss of traction much quicker than a gasoline power could, because those electric motors are just that quick to react to various changes in traction control underneath it, making this, again, a very fun vehicle to drive in all weather conditions. I did mention we did have ice, snow, and sleet while we had this vehicle, though I did not take it out in it because, well, here in East Texas, while I might be able to drive in those conditions, I don't know that I want to trust everyone else who doesn't see that kind of weather pattern all that frequently. So I left this thing in the driveway. I will say though, charging it up at home with our Lectron charger, this did take a little bit longer to charge in that colder weather. And that is something you will need to take into consideration as temperatures drop wherever you call home. And that, yes, colder weather does make for a shorter driving distance. You're using your heater more, which does take up more energy. And then the colder weather just means lower capacity on your battery overall. Just things to keep in mind while you've got the vehicle. But for us, in our time with it, it's been infinitely fun. I've enjoyed it. The suspension is really good, makes for a nice calm ride. The powertrain makes for a very quick acceleration and makes me can't wait until we get behind the wheel of the even more powerful Chevy Blazer EV and potentially even more powerful Cadillac LYRIQ V. And for those videos, you will want to hit the subscribe button down below and ring the bell so you don't miss those when they drop. You can find us on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, YouTube, you name it. Everything is at GT Garage Talk, or you can go to gtgaragetalk.com. But as for me, I'm going to enjoy driving down twisty roads in this performance vehicle with perfect 50-50 weight distribution and instantaneous torque. As for me, behind the wheel of the 2025 Acura ZDX Type S. Until next time, gearheads. Bye.